Wakanda will no longer watch from the shadows. We cannot, we must not. We will work to be an example of how we as brothers and sisters on Earth should treat each other. Now more than ever, the illusions of division threaten our very existence. We all know the truth. More connects us than separates us. But in times of crisis, the wise build bridges, while the foolish build barriers. We must find a way to look after one another as if we were one single tribe. In today's video, one will rise as King of Wakanda as we have a look at the Kotobukiya ArtFX Black Panther 1/6 scale pre-painted PVC statue. To figure out how tall T'Challa stands, we'll go ahead and take the tape measure and we'll put it right to the top of his ears. And the statue stands at a little shy of being 11 inches in height, roughly 10.9 inches. And switching that over to centimeters, you're looking at 27.8 centimeters in height. So when you get Black Panther out of the box, this is essentially what you're going to be looking at. It consists of 4 pieces. I'll show you how all the pieces come together first, but before we do that, let's have a look at the display base that the King of Wakanda is going to be standing atop of. A really nice, well-painted, well-weighted display base, I might say, with the old fallen ruins of Wakanda. Some nice scripture has been etched its way into the stonework here. It really does look quite spectacular. A couple of peg holes, there's one right there, and there's one right there. They are shaped differently from one another, so you'll know exactly which way the king is going to be facing, but logically you would probably understand that he's going to face this way. I guess he could technically face this way. I mean, it's finished on both sides, but he's going to be facing this way. Nice incorporating brown and some greens there. You got some sculpted in leaves. Again, I really like the rock formation here, the ruin formation. It's a spectacular looking display base. So then you're going to go ahead and it's probably best, easiest to put the arms in first and then plug him into place. Now, they are only going to go one way. You'll know, obviously, that the claws are going to be facing forward. I know I just said that about the display base. But they are also shaped specifically. Let me just show you. So there's really only one way. This is like old public school learnings here, right here. That shapes will only go into like shapes. So we'll go ahead and take the arm here. And it's no magnets, so in this case, you're just going to press it into place. The one unfortunate end of it is the only thing that I find as a strike to the statue is because you're plugging the arms in, you're leaving a very obvious seam line here where you can see like the arm has been plugged into place. That's the only thing. I almost kind of wish that the statue was all one piece. I know when it comes to these, the statues from Kotobukiya, the ones that are intended to be built, that's the whole gimmick for them, is that, you know, you're going to be adding arms. But it's just, I only say that because it leaves a big noticeable seam. Let's go ahead and do the other arm here. And I'm just going to plug that into place. When you are plugging into place, the nails aren't super long, but they are long enough. You don't want to be pushing down this way. You may want to kind of hold it closer to the shoulder area. And again, you're just going to kind of plug it into place. Make sure both sides are in place. And as you can see, again, there's that little seam mark where the arms have been connected. It's the only thing that I wish that this statue didn't have, just because you do see it. Everything else from the head all the way down to the legs are seamless. There's no seam lines, there's no connection lines, there's nothing indicating that you would have taken other parts and put them together. So again, I wish that this just wasn't the case. Then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to line up the feet, and they are only going to go one way. Snap that in place. Again, it's a lot easier, I find, to plug the feet in after you've done the arms, just because it's a lot easier to kind of hold the statue and push the arms in. The planting of him on the display base is a whole lot easier than I find putting the arms in. And there you have the finished statue. Black Panther has never looked finer, though. Now, the statue as a whole is, of course, sculpted in primarily one black color. Now, that will deviate from itself because you have some separation of different textures. Some slightly smoother panel lining making up around the sides of his suit, while the majority of his suit is sort of this, I almost want to even describe it as like a basketball sort of material where it's got texturing added to it. For the fact that really this statue does have as much black on it, it does look quite good, and it reads, you know, you can see all those little shinier areas in which the panel lining is running down the leg, especially around the chest area. If you tilt it ever so slightly, thank you very much, light, you can see the panel lining running, the smoother areas, I should say, of the suit running down the other under area there of the pectoral, running down the side of the abdomen, or the abdominal muscles there. Again, it's got some really nice texturing. That's the one thing. It's actually one thing that Kotobukiya does exceptionally well, is texturing and molding of figures, of the statues here. Now, where there isn't, of course, black, you're graced then with some additional silver. The silver, much like talons, are jetting their way down the sides of his boots. Of course, you got them in the claw areas of his boots. And then you've got the section around the gloves and in the previously mentioned fingers. The only thing I would say is probably fragile on this piece. I do like to point out, a little fragile. Keep in mind, be mindful of these areas, sort of little points in these reviews. The points, good segue there, on his fingers are a little on the more brittle side. Just the nature of, because it's a thinner plastic, be careful that you don't accidentally bang that, because they are sticking further out from the fingers there. While we're at it, actually, the gloves are just as good as the rest of the body, really liking the texturing separations there, where you can see like the individual like bars of armor running across his arms with that meshing underneath here. And then, of course, we cannot overlook Black Panther's face. Now, this would be the Black Panther mask from the standalone movie, as it's a slightly more squared off jaw than the one that we got in Civil War. Kind of digging this look of Black Panther with the more boxier sort of face. Again, you got all this nice little detailing around the, even like if you tilt it up, he's got these little stripped panels of that different slightly texturing. I think this would be the area that would be lighting up on him. Again, you got some nice texturing around down the side of the face. It's interesting that it does read like a cat, despite for the fact that it is a mask. Even right down to the fact that you got the mouth, the nose, got some nice silver outlining there around the eyes. The eyes themselves are actually silver as well, rather than actually being white. Again, you got that more technological sort of texturing. There's a lot of T's there on the sides of his ears. And even really down the side, which I didn't even notice before, looks like he's almost got like a scripture running down the side of the head, like the back of the head right there, if you can see it. That's always a good mark of a company that is good at sculpting, when you get to look at a physical copy of something that you see in the movie where you don't see a lot of, like here, you wouldn't see this back of the head that often in the movie, or certainly close enough to be able to make out that it's got all this additional scripture down the side. That's one beautiful thing about these pieces, is that you get to kind of notice things that you may have overlooked in the movie itself. I also really like the pose that they've put him in, a very strong stance as he's standing atop of one of the fallen ruins and a much stronger leg kind of supporting him upright. It does look like he's about to lunge forward or protect his land. Again, what you got is a nice weighted base, so it's definitely not going to go anywhere. It is very surprisingly heavy for how small the base is, but it does certainly firmly plant the statue in place. I don't feel like it's going to be rocking. It ain't going anywhere anytime soon. And again, just a quick turn around here. It's remarkable, really, and this is something I just wanted to reiterate. It's remarkable that for a figure, or in this case a statue, that has this much black from the head all the way down to the feet, how much that can deviate from itself simply by incorporating different textures. And I'm not even just saying it from the statue, I'm also talking about the costume in the movie itself. Kotobukiya has done a fine job of translating the costume, the newer costume that T'Challa wears, in beautiful statue form here. For those wishing to add this to their Kotobukiya collection, you'll be happy to know that T'Challa is now available in comic book stores should you wish to pick him up. I really do like this statue. I like the form, I like the texturing and sculpting that they put into the statue itself. The only thing I really wish that he didn't have was the very obvious seams in which you've added the arms to the torso. Even like looking at the box to the left, it doesn't seem as obvious. It almost seems like it's more of a seamless body. I get for the fact that they do want to incorporate snap together or push together parts, so you can essentially build your own statue, and I like that. Unfortunately though, the seams where they are leads to be something that's a little bit more noticeable than I would have liked. Either way though, I still love this statue. It's got some nice, like I said, sculpting. Paint, though minimal, because again, his costume really only consists of black with a little dabbings of silver and dark gray here and there. He really comes together exceptionally well, and I really like the statue that they've given him. It's really like the icing on the cake for an exceptional looking statue. Like I said, if you guys are interested in picking this one up for yourself, you should be able to find it at your local comic book stores. Today we were having a look at the Kotobukiya ArtFX Black Panther. This was the T'Challa pre-painted, snap-together, or pre-painted PVC statue. Nice piece. If you guys wanted to go back and have a look at some of my other Kotobukiya reviews, there's a playlist for Kotobukiya simply called Kotobukiya Reviews. I think I've also subcategoried that as well by the ArtFX statues, or if you also like the Boshijo statue reviews, those have also been categorized separately in playlists, so you guys can check those out if you like, and make sure you hit that little subscribe button down below as more videos will be coming your way. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.